The night was quiet, almost too quiet. The kind of silence that should have felt comforting but instead pressed against me like a weight. I lay on my side, staring at the faint glow of the alarm clock on the nightstand. 1:47 a.m. My wife, Claire, shifted beside me, the soft rustle of the sheets breaking the stillness. Then, I felt her hand reach out, brushing lightly against my arm. A simple gesture, one that used to make me turn toward her without hesitation. But tonight, I froze. And then I turned away. It wasn't that I didn't want her touch, I craved it, in truth. But something inside me had been restless for weeks, gnawing at the back of my mind. The late-night texts she shielded from view, the sudden urge to stay late at work, the odd excuses about needing space when I suggested we plan a weekend together. I told myself I was imagining things. That after 7 years of marriage, small shifts were normal. But lying there, her hand reaching for me, all I could feel was suspicion coiling in my chest. "Don't turn away from me," she whispered, her voice trembling. "I'm tired," I murmured, keeping my back to her. There was a pause, the kind of pause that stretches longer than it should, and then her words came, words that shattered whatever illusions I had been clinging to. "Do you know how long it's been since I felt wanted? At least he makes me feel alive." My breath caught. My heart slammed against my ribs as though it had heard something my brain refused to process. He. Not you. Not we. Not us. He. I turned sharply, staring at her through the dim light filtering from the street lamp outside. Her face was pale, eyes wide as if she hadn't meant for the words to escape. But they had. And now they hung between us, irreversible, damning. "What did you just say?" My voice came out low, almost too calm. Her lips trembled. I didn't mean. Don't lie now, Claire. Don't you dare lie. My throat burned, but my voice stayed steady, frighteningly so. She sat up, clutching the blanket to her chest like a shield. I was angry. "You keep pushing me away. You don't look at me anymore. You don't touch me like you used to. So that's your excuse?" I snapped. "Because I turned away tonight, suddenly there's a he? Tell me his name." She looked down, silent. That silence was louder than any confession. I swung my legs off the bed, my hands trembling as I raked them through my hair. My whole body felt like it was buzzing, a sick cocktail of rage and disbelief. "How long?" "Please, James," she whispered. "How long?" Her shoulders slumped, her voice barely audible. "A few months." The room spun. A few months. While I'd been buying flowers to surprise her, planning that weekend getaway, believing we just needed to reconnect, she'd been giving herself to someone else. My stomach clenched so hard it felt like I'd been punched. "Was it worth it?" I asked coldly. Tears welled in her eyes. "I didn't mean for it to happen. I felt invisible. And he noticed me." The words hit me harder than if she'd screamed. Invisible. I had loved her with everything in me, built a life around us, and yet somehow, I'd been nothing more than a shadow to her. I stood, pacing the room because sitting still felt impossible. Every memory of us, our wedding day, the honeymoon, lazy Sundays cooking breakfast, flashed in my head, tainted now. "Do you love him?" I finally asked. She shook her head quickly. "No. It was never love. It was distraction. A mistake. A mistake doesn't last months." My voice cracked despite my effort to hold it together. She climbed out of bed, stepping toward me, tears streaking her face. "James, I'm sorry. I'll end it. I'll do whatever it takes. Please, just don't give up on us." She reached for my hand, but I pulled it back like her touch burned. I wanted to scream. To throw something. To demand every detail until the truth was carved raw between us. But what good would that do? I already knew enough. She had betrayed me, and no apology could erase that. You had me, Claire, I said quietly. Every part of me. And you threw it away for someone who noticed you at the right moment. She sobbed, collapsing onto the edge of the bed. I'll regret it every day of my life. I believed her. But regret wasn't enough. I walked to the closet, pulling out a duffel bag and shoving clothes inside. She scrambled up, her panic rising. Wait, what are you doing? I can't stay here tonight, I said flatly. James, please. We can fix this. Don't walk away. I paused, staring at her, at the woman I had loved more than anything. My chest ached, my eyes burned, but my resolve hardened. You reached for me in bed tonight, and I turned away. Maybe I already knew. Maybe some part of me has been preparing for this. But when you said his name without even meaning to, that was the truth. And I can't unhear it. Her face crumpled, but I zipped the bag shut. As I reached the door, she called after me, her voice breaking. If you walk out, you'll never see me again. I stopped, my hand on the doorknob. For a moment, the weight of 7 years pressed on me, begging me to turn back. But then I remembered her whisper in the dark, the knife of her words cutting straight through me. At least he makes me feel alive. Without another word, I walked out. The night air hit me, sharp and cold, but strangely freeing. My world had just collapsed, but in the rubble, there was clarity. I deserved more than half-truths and hidden lovers. I deserved someone who would reach for me because I was enough, not because they needed comfort after betraying me. Behind me, I could still hear her muffled sobs through the door. Ahead of me, nothing but silence and the unknown. But one thing was certain, I wasn't going back. That was the night my marriage ended, not with a fight, not with slammed doors, but with a whisper in the dark that told me everything I needed to know. And though it broke me, it also set me free.